If you really know me, you will know my Father as well. From now on, you do know him and have seen him. Philip said, Lord, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us. Jesus answered, Don't you know me, Philip, even after I have been among you such a long time? Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, Show us the Father? Don't you believe that I am in the Father, and that the Father is in me? The words I say to you, I do not speak on my own authority. Rather, it is the Father living in me who is doing his work. Believe me when I say that I am in the Father and the Father is in me, or at least believe on the evidence of the works themselves. Greeting, guys, it is me here with a message of the kingdom of heaven. Guys, here I was reading the word, and I was thinking about Philip, the words that, in fact, the question that he was asking Jesus, or should I say the statement that he was saying to Jesus. It's powerful, guys. It's powerful. You see, guys, the disciples, they knew that there were things that they themselves were supposed to receive from Jesus that others weren't supposed to receive, because Jesus made it so with them. He would often tell them things that he didn't tell others. There were often things that he did among them that he couldn't do with others, because he treated them special. Let me just put it like that. He treated them special, So they expected certain thing. In fact, they expected AA class, Were they wrong? No, they were not wrong. Jesus showed them so much love that, for them it was like, yeah, we need to get everything. We need to know everything. So Philip is standing up and, is going to him, because here, guys, it was the final meeting. It was the intimate meeting that Jesus was having with his disciples just before he goes to the cross, because here he's telling them things that he had not told them before, because he's saying, you know what, now I'm about to go back to the Father, so I am telling you certain things, and they are mourning, they are sad and everything, so Jesus is comforting them and saying stuff that he had never said to them. So here he's telling them, he says, you know what, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father, and because the disciples know who Jesus really is. I'm not talking about the body he's put in. So they know who Jesus really is. You understand? As I've said, that how Jesus looked, physically is not how he really is. I've spoken about that. You go to Hebrews 10:5, Jesus says, a body is prepared for me. Then I said, here I am, oh Lord, to do your will. In other words, Jesus is saying that I already exist in heaven. I already live in heaven, so no one can have sex and give birth to me, because I'm already living in heaven, and I already look like this snow color. My head is as white as snow, my hair is as white as snow, my eyes are blazing with fire. So we know that Jesus has that snow color, and I often raise that up because I want to make sure that you get that. You understand? So he says that a body though must be prepared for me. That's why a virgin had to be the one who brings birth to Jesus, because if you're a virgin, you can't have sex with anyone. Therefore, you are not necessarily giving birth to someone, but you are giving a person a path to get to the world, meaning you are like an envelope. So Mary was not necessarily the mother of Jesus, but Mary is actually the envelope. You understand? Because it was how Jesus was put here on earth, because the only way to enter earth is through birth. I needed to get that, So we understand that. So the disciples understand that, okay, other people are seeing Jesus, from a different point of view, because they are looking at the physical body, but this is the body that was prepared for him. That's why Hebrews 10:5 says, a body is prepared for me. Then I said, here I am, oh Lord, to do your will. But the disciples are fully aware of the fact that this is not how Jesus really looks. He just has to look like us here because he's put in this body, but the real Jesus looks like that. So now they are like, you know what, can you also show us the Father? We also want to know the Father. You know what I mean? So Jesus is angry with this request from Philip. Jesus is angry, saying, "Don't you know me, Philip? Even after I've been with you for such a long time, anyone who has seen me has seen the Father now. How can you say that, show us the Father? Don't you believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words I said to you, I do not speak on my own authority. Rather, it is the Father living in me who is doing his work. Believe me when I say that I am in the Father and the Father is in me, or at least believe on the evidence of the works themselves." So Jesus is actually saying, listen, the Father will not reveal himself to you. He will not do that. He's not going to do that. You understand? The Father will reveal me to you, just like you know that I am really a child of God. Others will not see that because I'm hidden in this body. But the Father is the one speaking through me. Now, guys, before we even get to this, because this one is very deep, I want us to go to Samuel and Eli. I just want us to use them for an example. Samuel is a prophet, but he's young at that time, and he's living with Eli, in the synagogue, meaning in the church, But Eli is recognizing that God speaks through this child because God is going to be using this child. At the same time, Eli will have to recognize when the switch takes place. Meaning, because Samuel is a prophet, Eli is obviously the priest, meaning the pastor, but Samuel is actually the prophet. There are times where daddy will have to speak through Samuel, but there are times where Samuel is speaking as Samuel. But Eli will have to recognize that switch, that flip. Oh, now it's God speaking through Samuel. Oh, now it's Samuel, because Samuel will reason like a child. Samuel will speak like a child. But when daddy is now speaking through Samuel, yes, through Samuel, Eli will have to recognize that. In other words, it will take a matured person to see the flip. Because obviously, Samuel is a prophet. But Samuel is also Samuel. You understand? Not that everything that is coming from Samuel is coming from God. But there will be a flip, because there will be times where daddy will speak through Samuel. I don't know, guys, if you understand that. I decided to make that example on purpose because I wanted you to understand the issue Jesus is having with Philip, or the issue that the disciples of Philip is actually raising to Jesus, because Philip is raising something here and Jesus is having an issue with that. Let's say, for example, also using another example, you've got a kid and it's been revealed to you that your kid is a prophet. If your kid is a prophet, obviously Jesus will speak through your kid. But it doesn't mean that all the time everything your kid says is Jesus. No. But there will be a flip where Jesus will speak through your child. But in most cases, it will be your child just speaking as your child. You understand? So that's the mistake people make when they deal with prophets, thinking that, oh, because this one is a prophet, so it's God. I was speaking once about what the nuns, are forced to do there in Catholic Church. You sometimes, guys, I watch this YouTube, I see this reality show, and you'll watch nuns crying on TV saying that the priest, were asking them to perform this sexual act on them, and these nuns will do that because they were thinking that it was God who was allowing that to happen. And I was like, those nuns are fools. Foolish they are. If you read the word, first of all, you understand. I don't know if pastors from Catholic Church do get saved. If they don't get saved, then God has never even spoken to them in the first place. That's number one. Because they still have the sin of Adam. They have not removed the sin that was passed on to them, to everyone who's born here on earth from Adam. If anyone has not been saved, that sin has not been removed. Therefore, Jesus cannot use that person. Jesus cannot speak through that person. That's number one. Secondly, the beliefs of the Catholic Church are not in line with the word. They pray to Mary. Nowhere does it say we should pray to Mary. Secondly, thirdly, these people, they erect statues and they say these things look like Jesus. Even in the Old Testament, Daddy said that no one should create anything that looks like anything in heaven. Even though these things don't look like Jesus, they claim that it looked like Jesus. They were not even supposed to do that. So if they recognize that, those three things, they will never even listen to a pastor or a priest from Catholic Church. I will not listen to anyone from Catholic Church because Jesus is not there, has never been there. I'm not going to waste my time doing that. Okay, guys, let's close that topic now. I've been speaking about it. Let's close it. You will say, oh, you often speak ill of churches. Churches were meant to give us the undiluted word of God. They decided to give us their own beliefs. So I'm going to speak ill of churches. No one's going to say anything about it. I'm going to speak ill of churches. They were meant to do the work for God. They do the work for themselves. So I am going to speak ill of churches. But let me calm down. Whenever I think of churches, guys, I lose it. But, let me bring back the Zen mode. I'm in my Zen mode now, I'm coming down so that I can answer this issue, because Philip here is having an issue. He's saying, Jesus, show us the Father. And Jesus says, I ain't doing that. Dude, I ain't doing that. But Jesus, guys, here, you see, first of all, you need to understand that these dudes are having a problem with Jesus because, number one, Jesus is a God. A son indeed, but Jesus is a God. But guys, before we even get to that answer, Jesus was speaking to the disciples in the Gospel of Matthew, was saying that when he comes back, when he's doing the second round, he doesn't know when he will come back. He gave us the signs. And then he says that he himself doesn't know. Only the Father knows. And when I was listening to Jesus saying that, to me it clicked. Wow. This means that Jesus obviously is a prophet and knows a lot of things, but there are things that Daddy knows that Jesus doesn't know. The mere fact that Jesus is telling us that he doesn't know when he's coming back, but he knows the signs because Daddy has told him the signs. It means that there are things that Daddy knows that Jesus doesn't know. Remember, guys, Jesus is a son. A God indeed, a son, nevertheless. You understand? So there are things that he doesn't know, meaning Jesus is a prophet, but maybe Jesus is 80% or 85% a prophet, meaning there are things that he doesn't know that only Daddy knows. You understand? So the prophets, the disciples now are confused because in their minds, they are like, so how would we know if it's Daddy speaking or if it's you speaking, Jesus? Guys, let me stop here and continue in the next.